early. Sometimes it's good to be early. But our show starts at a specific time. You should remember that. Let's get started then, shall we?
Dillon, I don't give a what you think about a co-host and freshen up my show.
It might not be flashy, but sometimes you just gotta toss another person to make a statement.
My show's about the people's podcast. Everyone has a voice. I don't need a co-host. Go listen to one of the other 5,000 shows with a co-host because they don't have a mouth like the big guy.
Opie, are you a career killer with Tim Sabian, yourself, and many others?
Be myself. Never had real issues with those people. They just understood that I was a different bird. The rest of them, though, I'm like, oh, shut up. I'm paying your salary because the ratings are so good, so shut up.
Right.
Live from
somewhere.
It's
Dillon.
Good whatever to you whenever you are listening to this. This is Cohost Auditions. I am your co-host, Dillon, and today our returning host is Maven, formerly of WWE fame. He won the Tough Enough competition on MTV, and then he stuck around until the end of his contract, and they did not renew it. But he didn't have a bad run, didn't have a good run. He had a run, and he is here wearing his pink polo shirt. I have a red polo shirt. Surprisingly, no pink shirts. I could have swore I owned a pink shirt to match with, my tag team partner in broadcasting today. Didn't even get a full 2 minutes without an auditory fuck up on my end. Take it away, Maven. I'm messing it up already.
Hey guys, Maven here, and from 2001 through 2005, I had the great job of being a WWE superstar. Now, when you get to this world, there's a lot of unwritten rules that, to be honest, you just don't know about. You don't know they exist. You quickly learn about them, and actually, one of these rules I didn't follow led to me being fired. Had I known about it, who knows?
He done got fired. He did not, his contract did not run out. I was unaware of that. Good morning, Rochi, or afternoon in the UK. Thank you for joining. We had a pretty popular show out for the first Maven episode, and he gets some big numbers on some of his videos, so hopefully he can bring that over here to this channel.
I might still be in the WWE. But for right now, let's go over some of the unwritten rules of the WWE. Unwritten rule number 1, shake everyone's hand. Now, this might sound ridiculous, but let's break it down a little bit. As soon as you arrive to a show, and we might do...
This is something Jim Cornette has stated that has just gone amok. Something that was a sign of respect and you just did to the top guys has now run amok, and you shake hands with every single person. So that, according to an old timer, is the rules, that you shake hands with fucking everybody.
Do 3 or 4 shows per week. I'm talking every show. But as soon as you arrive to the building, you're going to walk in and you're going to see wrestlers, producers. You're going to see maybe someone's wife. You're going to shake each and every one of their hands. Now, this usually happens in either the locker room or in catering.
I did not let that coffee
every
cool.
show, as soon as you see someone for the first...
That coffee is fresh out of catering. I should
time
not
that day,
have gotten on
extend
it so
your
quickly.
hand and shake it, because if you don't, you're going to find trouble. I even witnessed it backstage. One of the top guys, and I'll leave his name out, but he refused to shake some of the veterans' hands, and this ultimately led to them getting into a real altercation backstage. So, rule number 1, very simple: shake everyone's hand.
Was it CM Punk? CM Punk's Labor Days are very combative. I hope to see him next Labor Day, who he fucks up backstage.
Unwritten rule number 2, simple: be on time. When you're doing a live show and when you're wrestling for the WWE, things have to work like clockwork. If you're not on time, the show might not run exactly the way Vince and all the other producers see fit. You don't want to be that person that's holding the show up. You don't want to be
that. That is a nightmare scenario for performing, going live, the Saturday Night Live, the WWE Raw. Like, we must stick to our time limits or else we are fucking fucked. Versus what I've done in theater, where we have our lines. It varies very little from night to night, the runtime. And yeah, things happen. The audience, I remember huge laugh I got, like straight out of Married with Children, where it was like, oh, I have to wait several beats for them to calm down. And it was only one night out of the 4 nights that it got that huge applause. It got a good laugh every night, but one night, just full Married with Children. Bwah!
Be
You have
that
to
person that is considered
adjust.
unreliable. So very simple. If your call time is 1 o'clock, be there at 1 o'clock. Heck, be there at 12:30. Now, I learned the hard way about being on time. I would ride with Randy Orton, and let's just say Randy and I, we were on opposite ends of the importance spectrum. But our call
So when Randy Orton shows up late, not as big of a problem when Maven, who is in the same car, shows up late. And I do the same thing as a low man on the totem pole as a background actor. I am there 30 minutes before I'm supposed to be there.
call time for Raw was always 1 p.m. Orton, he could manipulate those numbers a little bit easier than I could. And I remember one show in particular, we got there around 3 o'clock. We both walked in at the exact same time. Did Randy get in trouble? He didn't. Did I? Oh, yes, I did. And being on time was something that was stressed to me, just the importance of it. Now, we went live at 9 o'clock for Monday Night Raw. I was there 6 hours early and still considered late. But guess what? I wasn't late anymore after that. Unwritten rule number 3, it's a simple one. It's an easy one. But
And supposedly their shows used to be much more put together before they got there of the talent that comes to the ring. Like there are people that just leave when they find out that, oh, they're not going to use me. That's, I think, how Justin Gabriel got fired from WWE is they told him, oh, we don't need you. So he went to like an aquarium or a theme park or something nearby. And then they called him up, hey, we need you. I'm having fun. You want to go ahead and fire me or suspend me? I'm not coming back tonight. Randy was always on time, says Rochi. Well, Randy would come out of nowhere. So even when you thought he wasn't going to be on time, Randy Orton out of nowhere.
Stay to the end of the show.
Are you kidding?
I am judging you for having a commercial this early in. 3 minutes into an 8-minute video. That means we're going to get at least one more commercial. I think that's one too many.
200-mile drive ahead of us. And it's so tempting to want to get a jump start on that travel. But stay to the end of the show and watch everyone's match. A lot of the veterans, they might be having a match that you need to see, not want to see, but need to see. Why? Because it's going to make you better in the long run, might give you ideas. So show them the respect that they deserve.
Supposedly, this has also kind of disappeared since he was in the locker room 15 years ago. Sounds like a lot of guys just play video games and go back to their hotels.
If you don't.
Actually, I think that was, no, they always stuck around till the end. Back in the olden days, the bad guys had to stick around in case something started going awry with the lead bad guy in the main event to come to his aid, because that legit did happen.
Duck out, they're going to think that you have better things to do than get better. So, unwritten rule number 3, stay to the end of the show and watch all the matches. Unwritten rule number 4, very simple. It has to do with money. And that is, don't ask, don't tell. Money is the one thing on this planet that can divide almost anybody. It's not your business about how much someone else makes.
Pretty much standard practices of what all businesses say. Do not talk about pay because our structure is all fucked up. Yeah, that useless guy is getting way more money than he should, and it's more than the person actually doing the job. But fuck, we made it happen that way, so just don't talk about it.
Makes, and vice versa. It's not their business how much you make. So the best rule of thumb, never.
Well, we all knew how much Maven was making. He won the $1 million contract. So however long that contract was for, it equaled $1 million. Something that I didn't quite understand when I was younger. Hearing a $27 million contract for 8 years means $27 million total, not each of the 8 years.
Ask, and obviously don't indulge about how much you made per show. Unwritten rule number 5. Plans are going to change. Be able to roll with them. When I was wrestling Shelton Benjamin for the Intercontinental.
Wildly underrated Shelton Benjamin. He should have had a main event run. Didn't necessarily need to be a world champion, but he bottomed out, topped out, I guess, at the Intercontinental title. And that was a time when Benoit was champion, they would have him defend the title regularly on shows, and he would look strong, where they would put Shelton Benjamin up against a main eventer like The Undertaker, and he would get his ass whipped.
Continental Championship.
I don't know how that's
the original
to get him
plan
more
was
popular.
to maybe give me the belt, but being that I had just turned to a bad guy and I was still extremely inexperienced, they knew I wasn't ready. Now, I had one or two options there. I could have hung my head and showed them that I would never be ready. But what I did was agree with them and say that, let me get more experience so that when you are ready, I am ready. Realize this is live television, so plans are going to change at any time. Be able to roll with it. Unwritten rule number 6, respect your agent. In my time, they were former wrestlers who have had their own success. And these are the men and women that help put your matches together. A lot of
Sounds
times,
like a Jim Cornette guy. He does have respect for those who came before him, unlike the Young Bucks and their little protege Jungle Boy. Yeah, Rochi. All the words coming out about All Elite Wrestling shows that they do not respect their elders. And Maven respecting his elders here.
Going to tell you, or maybe give you ideas that you might not like, and it's so tempting to want to circumvent that and get the result that you're looking for. Don't do this, because it's just going to show that you're difficult.
His producer likes to put a music bed underneath of him.
Work with. So follow your agents, respect the producer. So this leads to unwritten rule number 7, respect your veterans. We do a lot of travel by planes, by buses.
Respect your veterans, Jungle Boy, Adam Page. Don't go out on live TV and make them look like a dick bag. So,
and we're obviously watching the monitors backstage.
Maven
and
is
a comfortable
not a
seat
buckaroo.
Desired by all. But sometimes the veteran, someone who has been there and might deserve that seat a little bit more than you, can come up. Make sure you're doing the right thing. Give up that seat. Show the respect.
Benjamin was
to the person
actually
who has
part of the dream class with Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, John Cena. There were a lot of superstars that came through that OVW class, and it does make sense why Shelton Benjamin got a little bit sandbagged from all of the other main eventers coming up at the exact same time. So we needed some mid-carders in that batch. Unfortunately, Shelton, it was you.
Has earned it. Because if you don't, trust me,
we had
the
the
word
other main eventers going to main event.
will get out and that you are disrespectful to the veterans. And I guarantee you that is not the way to get in the good graces of the top brass in the WWE. And this leads to unwritten rule number 8, and the rule that ultimately, in my opinion, led to me getting fired. And that is, get down to the ring and learn your craft. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but in a WWE show, that ring is set up hours before any of the patrons get to the building. And why is it set up? Because it gives the guys an opportunity.
I actually got to take the ring down at one point at a midget wrestling show recently. Those steel beams.
Get down to the ring and maybe work on their match for later that night. Maybe work on moves that they've been trying to perfect and aren't quite comfortable enough with doing them during a show. Well, that ring's set up basically so you can work on your craft.
That ring is set up so you can learn how to do shit you do not know how to do. So you can get some practice in on that shit you do not know how to do. Don't do that shit you do not know how to do in front of people. Unfortunately, Shelton Benjamin was the Ringo Starr of that OVW class. And yeah, he deserved better. He deserved a main event run in Impact Wrestling. He never went to Impact Wrestling, did he? Good for Shelton. But he did have a run in Ring of Honor there for a while, him and Charlie Haas.
Johnny Ace, Director of Talent Relations, told me multiple times that it was in my best interest to get down to the ring and work with guys like Fit Finley, who is a wealth of knowledge. And what can I say? I was a 25, 26-year-old kid that didn't listen to good advice.
25. I never noticed that southern twang in Maven's voice before.
Thought it was probably a better idea to go off to the gym and get a workout in once I had my match down. Well, had I went down and worked on my craft, had I went down and constantly tried to get better, had I have learned from guys like Fit Finley, like Stevie Richards, like the Hurricane, like Arn Anderson, like Terry Taylor, all these guys that were down there with an abundance of just knowledge that were trying to give it, I might have been able to stay in the WWE a little longer. I definitely would have became a better worker.
You could be in AEW right now and just do that exact same thing of not paying attention to Billy Gunn and Jerry Lynn and all those that came before you.
Goes without saying. But hey, I was a kid. That's unwritten rule number 8. Be at the ring, getting better at your craft. Now I'm going to break one of those unwritten rules and actually tell you how much I made as a WWE wrestler. Click right here to find out.
Nicely done, Maven. That was part one. How much money did I make in WWE is his next video that we will get to right now. He is wearing, oh, now we're matching. Now we are a tag team. He's wearing red sleeveless, and I'm wearing a red polo shirt. Out with the pink, in with the red. They fire you for that type of thing at the Springfield nuclear power plant.
Hey guys, Maven Huffman here, former WWE superstar. One of the questions I get asked all the time, Maven, how much did you make during your time in the WWE? Well, hey, that's a personal question, but I'm willing to answer. What I'm going to be sharing with you during this video is how wrestlers get paid, the difference in the top guys, the bottom guys, and all us guys in between. Also, our expenses. Did the WWE pay for all those expenses? Answer might.
Fuck no, they don't. That I know the answer to. If they do, that's something very recent. Mick Foley has a lot of fascinating talks about how cheap he was. And there is a fine line between living cheap and living like a hobo. And Mick Foley definitely crossed that line to be very hobo-esque at many times.
Might shock you. And finally, in the end, I'm going to tell you exactly how much I made during my run in the WWE. And I'm going to tell you that answer, it's going to be interesting. Now, to begin, we have to describe the difference between downside guarantees and pay sheets. Now, disclaimer, this is how it was when I was there.
Okay, we're getting in the weeds. Let's add a little entertainment before we get far in the weeds. Rochi says Maven wasn't a bad hand in the ring. They don't have a lot of Mavens wrestling right now. And Maven was passionate to the craft. It was one of his early matches that he broke his leg and went on for a few minutes to finish the match. And I know they gave him a lot of shit for that, but Triple H did that twice of tearing his quad and finishing the match. So Maven showing some Triple H type commitment to his craft in getting something very excruciating happening to you in a match and making it to the end. And what's the word? The adrenaline definitely helps with that. Being pumped full of adrenaline, performing in front of a live crowd like that, it's an assistance in not noticing that pain is there. Didn't Mick live on 12 pound for 2 weeks in 1992? That sounds about accurate. There are lots of Mick Foley being very cheap stories. So I can believe that he spent that much in 2 weeks in 1992. And it's getting around like, how am I going to eat? And one of the stories when he was in WWE is that he just grabbed one of those big giant bags of popcorn. Like they store them in like clear, what looks like trash bags. And Mick Foley, it's mostly air, but it's going to fill me up. This is my road snack for the next 5 hours.
2001 through 2005. I don't currently know how these guys get paid that are wrestling now. I can only explain how it was for me. To begin, downside guarantee. What does that mean? A downside guarantee is guaranteeing a wrestler how much they're going to make, no matter if they're on the road or if they're at home injured. The first ever downside guarantee that I ever signed right after Tough Enough was for $50,000. What this stated was, no matter how many matches that I wrestled, whether it was 100 or if I got injured and had no matches for the entire year, I was guaranteed to make $50,000. Came out to about $1,000 a week. The whole year, no matter what, this is exactly how much.
And this is something that Jim Cornette speaks both for and against of the downside guarantee and knowing what you're going to get versus going out there and working your ass off and really earning your money.
I was going to make. No matter if I was injured, no matter what, I was going to make this for the year. Now, the other way to get paid in the WWE at the time was through pay sheets. Now, pay sheets was definitely the way to go, where the downside offered you security and you knew exactly how much you were getting paid. Pay sheets offered you a unlimited earning potential. Guys would make so...
That sounds like straight out of the mouth of Vince McMahon there. You have unlimited potential money to be made.
Much, depending on two things: a percentage of the ticket sales, for every show, and you would get paid depending on your level in the card. So if you were in one of the first, 1, 2.
I really don't remember Maven merch. That's another thing. And they say it actually, you need to sell a shitload of it in order to see a bump. But I don't really remember Maven merch.
3 matches of the evening, you're obviously going to get paid less. If you were in one of the top 3 matches, and definitely if you were in the main event, you were going to get paid more. I might get paid $500 just for wrestling the match for a non.
That best be Hollywood money, Maven. It's a felony Isn't it a felony or is it a misdemeanor to show actual money on camera? You'll see those rap videos where the money is all blurred out because they didn't know that they can't show actual real money, American currency on camera.
Non-televised event when you're on pay sheet. So 4 shows, $500 each and every day. You can do the math. So when you're on pay sheets, depending on where you are in the card, depending on the attendance, the sold ticket sales for the week, you would make around.
There are cyber threats that can lurk undetected.
Okay, there was only one commercial in that first one. I was getting on his ass unnecessarily. There's a commercial about 3 minutes in. Oh, we got a 12-minute video. There's going to be a second during this one.
$1,000 per week. Now that's on pay sheets. If you're on your downside, you'd make $1,000. Obviously, you can see exactly why pay sheets were the more lucrative option and why most everyone decided to get paid this way rather than this way. Now, regardless whether you decide to be on pay sheets or on a downside guarantee, the issue of pay-per-view would come up.
Oh, it's a this or that. They had the 2 different variations you could go with of the downside guarantee or the work for your money guarantee like they did in the olden days. That was an option. All right, new information. Fascinating.
And it's a good issue to have because no matter where you are, as long as you were in the pay-per-view, you were going to get a bonus. And a lot of times it's a pretty healthy bonus. A lot of guys would look forward to the pay-per-view every month because they knew it was a way to not only supplement, but add to an already good income. With the network now, I know they pretty much did away with that. But back then, it truly mattered to us.
Yeah, that's something they were going to have a meeting about how royalties will work with the upcoming network. Then they postponed it and it just never happened. And the network's been a thing since what, 2016, 2015? So that postponed meeting going on nearly a decade now that they're going to tell them how their royalties are going to work out on the network versus the old pay-per-view model.
Because we were going to get a percentage of every person that paid to watch that pay-per-view. Pay-per-views could run between $40, $50, almost up to $89 for the pay-per-view, depending on which one it was. So your Survivor Series, your WrestleManias, your Unforgivens, your Backlashes. These would cost a lot of money, and we reap the benefits. We would get a percentage of each and
very
every
good amount of pay-per-view numbers. WCW back in the 90s, them getting much better pay-per-view numbers than they did television numbers is why they upped the pay-per-views to 12 a year, 1 a month. And then the WWE followed suit and it worked out for a while. But then, oh man, there were 1 year they after the brand split, they did 16 pay-per-views a year. And that's just too fucking many. And Rochi pointing out John Cena is rich as fuck because he took that other pay structure. He did not take that downside guarantee. He probably had one, but people on the level of like a John Cena or a Rey Mysterio, they do get a higher cut of the merch. That's something that they will notice much more, and they're getting much more of it. So the rich get richer, as always. Thank you for coming, De La. Maven has told us some information about his time at WWE. And here he's talking
every
about money.
pay-per-view sold and put into each and every person's home. So an average run-of-the-mill pay-per-view might pay you as much as $6,000 for that one show. Now, again, that's for a mid-card guy, which I was, and depending on, obviously, my position in the card for that night. But let's say, on average, it was just...
And I think I mentioned this last time. Like, the fact he got to shine in the Royal Rumble by drop-kicking The Undertaker out and getting the elimination. Undertaker beat the shit out of him after that, in character, of course. But then the treatment that Daniel Puder got, where 3 of the most strong-necked motherfuckers got in there and just worked him. Gave him the stiffest slaps. It was Hardcore Holly, Benoit, and Guerrero that just let him know we're not big fans of yours. Where Maven, I think he got a little bit of that, but we saw it firsthand at the Royal Rumble with Daniel Puder getting his ass whipped for real.
Just a run-of-the-mill, middle of the card match and a regular pay-per-view, a Backlash, for instance. My pay for that might be around about $6,000. Now, what's great about this is you never knew exactly what it was going to be. You might have a great headlining match, or there might be a storyline that people
great headlining
really
match, like John Cena on top. Stone Cold Steve Austin, he had a special split I think Jim Ross got into that of the percentage that everyone got, and then there was a special Stone Cold because Stone Cold brought more asses into seats than everyone else combined, so he did warrant that extra over the top money that he got. Dela, I am a Turkish oil wrestling guy myself. I've seen sumo wrestling. The Turkish oil wrestling, I am going to have to look that up. He wasn't supposed to do the drop kick, says Rochi. Oh, the drop kick on The Undertaker? That seemed part of the story. Like they've confirmed that that was talked about beforehand.
So going into each and every pay-per-view, your earning potential could be through the roof. Now, the most I ever made on a pay-per-view, and forgive me, I forget exactly which one it was because I'm old, but the most I ever made was right there, 30 grand, one show, one night. And
okay, yeah, that's Hollywood money. Maven doesn't have 30 grand to just throw. And it looks unimpressive there, doesn't it, that $30,000? Can we get that in 20s? Maybe some singles to really roll around in it the way Eric Cartman did? He had to get it converted to like quarters and pennies to actually do something with the money impressive, because otherwise.
And it was a amazing feeling. Now, remember, I was a mid-card guy. I was a guy who was middle of the rung, wasn't the lowest, wasn't the highest, but
I did just bury the lead that he got paid $30,000 for a show once. Fantastic. That's like a Mania. That or was that when you were in the Survivor Series main event? Oh, but then the money's being spent more ways for the people that was in that Survivor Series main event.
Main event guys, one of the guys I knew made this consistently. That's 100 grand per pay-per-view each and every month. As long as he stayed healthy, he knew that was coming in. Obviously, I'm not disappointed with that. I was ecstatic with that. But you can see which stack pays better. So now that we know how a WWE superstar got paid, how much did I make in my best year? Well, not 100,000, not 200,000.
Oh my!
Not 300,000.
We're still going. Oh, nice little point to keep us in anticipation.
15 people, 8 parts of their body.
Not even 400,000. Right around 430,000. Now that was my best year on pay sheets, and
damn, you chose wisely going with pay sheets. Fuck yeah.
That was a year that I remained injury-free. That was a year that I was on all the house shows. I was on overseas trips. I was on pay-per-views. I had a good run. I had a good storyline going, and the writing staff really utilized me for the entire year. Now, the key to that is remaining injury-free. Obviously, the moment you get injured, the moment
your broken leg, because yeah, that really fucked you up out of the start. I don't really remember hearing much of Maven in OVW, but that was their like only feeder system at that time. They're only developmental. I have to ask Jim Cornette on the drive-thru about that. JBL was indeed a bully from all the stories we are told. Oh, who was it that actually stood up to him and knocked him the fuck out?
You go back
There's some
to
funny guy that actually knocked him the fuck out once when he had enough.
Downside guarantee, you don't have the possibility of earning this much. So now that we see my best year, the year that I remained injury-free, the year that I was in all the storylines, the year that I was in pay-per-views, overseas trips, royalties, payments coming in, what was my worst year? Well, a year that for more than 2/3 of the year that I was nursing a broken leg, and my downside guarantee being at 75,000 at the time, a little bit over 80 grand. That was my worst year in the WWE. Now,
damn. You had a good run in the WWE. Too bad you stumble fucked all over yourself, but you wouldn't have stumble fucked all over yourself in AEW. You are encouraged not to listen to your elders in AEW. That would not even be an issue if you were over in Tallahassee. Oh yeah, the Turkish oil wrestling. Rochi saying Dela just likes nude man. Turkish oil wrestling does sound even more nude than sumo wrestling, which is pretty damn naked. Stevie Richards. Stevie Richards started broadcasting recently, and he is indeed different from that scrawny Stevie Richards that we found on TikTok. Stevie Richards, he was always a favorite of mine. He made the worst moves consistently. He was a top guy in ECW and then moved to WCW to become Raven's lackey bitch, and then he left. I think it was a short stint. He did get paid. His biggest run on top wasn't with the Blue Meanie in the Blue World Order, but rather as the right to censor and covering up those boobies so the WWE could say, oh, that damn Stevie Richards, we wish we could show you those boobies. I did not put my phone on silent.
$80,000 is still nothing to sneeze at. And mind you, I didn't have to be on the road. I didn't have to pay for a rental car. I didn't have to pay for hotels. And my only job during this time was to try to build my body back up, try to get healthy enough so I could get back out, get back into storylines, get back into the mix. Because trust me, wrestling is like every other business, out of sight, out of mind. Obviously, pay sheets is where you want to be, but downside guarantee, you're still happy to have it when you have nothing else other than to do but to get back to being healthy.
Oh, I actually missed your mistype. The Blue Mimi, that was the Drew Carey show. The Blue Meanie, that was WWE. And oh yeah, that was the big public JBL bullying somebody where he knocked the shit out of the Blue Meanie. He was bleeding pretty badly after JBL was able to like, all right, this is a big schmoz in the ring. I can get some licks on this fucker.
Healthy. All right, well, looking at both of these stacks, this one's upsetting me a little bit, so I'm going to get rid of it. Now, you look at this stack and you think that's a lot of money, but you forget about expenses. So let's talk a little bit about expenses and how $430,000 can get whittled down extremely quickly. Well,
hotels. Yeah, you want to get the best hotels. Oh, you got to get that credit card that gives you points back for going to the certain hotels. There's little
the first thing
things and bonuses, hopefully, that people will pick up on. I wonder if I imagine Mick Foley would pick up on those, but he just seemed to go with the cheapest possible of staying at buddies' houses on the couch and getting just the cheapest rooms.
Thing you got to do is take half of it away for Uncle Sam. Right there, immediately. Around 42 to 45% of that income is gone just for taxes. So that leaves you.
Independent contractors get more shit. I've got to start taking notes. I was figuring it was going to be 33%, but 33% of nothing is still nothing. So I'm looking good on next year's taxes.
With this stack. Well, if you have a house or you own or you want to live someplace, immediately you can take a little bit more out for your housing. And let's say you have a car payment, gone. While we're on the road, everybody thinks the WWE pays for everything. They do not. We're paying our hotels. We're paying for food. We're paying for rental cars. And those expenses add up. If you have a good accountant,
which is why you get all those fun road stories from the past of guys just being bored and just doing car combat. I think it was the Steiner brothers versus the Road Warriors is the famous story of them turning in a rental car that they just went Mad Max on each other through the drive from one town to another and just, fuck it. We were bored. We'll take that hit.
That'll help you and come back around when you do your taxes. But you got to think a little bit of expenses is going away as well, strictly for your on the road expenses. Now, other things,
about the entertainment budget. Did you go to the Godfather strip club in Las Vegas? Hopefully he gives the boys a little bit of free funny money there in his Vegas strip clubs. I believe he owned those throughout his WWE run. Good morning, Dabblestorian. Thanks for coming in. And Dayla did give us some tips on some Turkish mud wrestling, or was that oiled up Turkish wrestling? We will have to check that out. Cassie Baxter is hotter, pronounces Dayla. I wish you would take away those raccoon eyes that we saw yesterday. And Cassie Baxter is not unattractive. King of all diffs disagrees with us on Cassie Baxter's attractiveness. But the craziness, Dayla and I are a fan of the craziness. I know I can't tame her, just like you good girls cannot tame that bad boy. Mentally unwell women are to men as the bad boy are to women. I can just help her out a lot. Silly bastard.
Your hot water heater might go out. Your dog might get sick. Your car might blow a tire on the highway. You're always going to have something come up. At the end of it, you might be left. Once you make that big pile of money, once you make your $430,000, you might have this. And this is before you even save for anything. This is before you buy yourself clothing. This is before you maybe put a kid through school. This is before you even go grocery shopping. So the money, as quickly as it comes in, it goes out just as fast. Now, even though it's been over 18 years since I have wrestled for the WWE, I still get 4 quarterly checks from them every year. Now, how does that work?
Nice.
Royalties. Royalties are a great thing. Now,
Oh, I hope your royalties are better than that actress from Orange is the New Black, getting like several cents per appearance, despite the fact that she was basically a regular character. And I need to check that out. I was out and about last night. Dabble Storian appearing on Joey C. Very much.
now, there's
leading up
several
to it.
ways
We've been
that you can
talking
earn
about that
royalties
fella
as
for
a former
while.
wrestler, obviously. And the one that
And yes, next episode will be Joey C. next Monday. Dabble
hate us the
Storian.
most was DVD sales. Shortly behind that was action figures and video game sales. The way these guys have it running today, the network killed our DVD sales. So royalty checks have went down dramatically over the years, but it's still a good surprise every time that mailbox opens up and I see that check coming from my old employer. So the main royalty that we would get obviously was through DVD sales. And on average, I would say my royalties pre-network was around $5,000 every quarter. Now, that's a pretty good check for being out of a company for years and years, over a decade. But today it's a little bit different. With everyone having access to the WWE Network
Yeah, those DVD sales were really something back in the day. And goddamn digital media.
anytime they want and access to any pay-per-view, and they don't have to go out and buy the DVD like they used to. My royalty payments now per quarter look more like that.
Fuck.
About $300 per quarter. Quite a hit.
Man, going from physical media of $5,000 a quarter to $300 a quarter. God damn it.
Quite a hit. So one of the questions I get asked all the time, Maven, how much?
And that's why we see you here now. You needed to make up for that $4,700 that was just coming to you. So here, Maven, I believe he is already monetized. Did not take him long to get the subscriber minimum. And as many views as his videos have, I bet he's got those watch hour minimums too.
Did you make in your time in the WWE? Well, it might be more, it might be less than you figured, but it's about there we have it. About right around $800,000. Obviously, you can see I saved every penny. Being able to see all 50 states, being able to go to 11 different
I
countries.
wonder how much it cost him to print out all that fake Hollywood funny money.
I would say I made out like a bandit. Now, I had the benefit of working with a lot of different superstars in my time in the WWE. Were they cool? Were they jerks? Find out watching this.
We already checked that one out. We have 2 more options left, and being with the time, let's not go with the 20-minute video. Let's go with the 8-minute video, The Truth About Being a WWE Wrestler. And I'm going to have to check out your appearance, Dabble Storian, on the Joey C show from last night in preparation for Monday's episode. I believe you're still recommending the episode with all the technical difficulties going on. And yeah, prefer it just being him. I know he has a lot of guests on, but I know he does a lot of solo streams, so I should have some options to pick from. But today we are still with Maven, who is giving us the truth about being a WWE wrestler.
Hey guys, my name's Maven, and from 2001 through 2005, I had the coolest job in the world. I was a WWE superstar. Take a trip with me. I'm going to tell you the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, and sometimes the funny, and what it's like to be in the world of professional wrestling with the WWE. So I spent, 4 of the greatest years of my life working for the WWE. Now, I'm not saying that everything about the life is good. There's definitely some bad, definitely some negatives, and I've had some personal life demons that probably wouldn't have attacked if not for being in that business. But when I look back on my time in the WWE, I view it with nothing but fondness. I grew up in Virginia, in a small town, and I would watch wrestling every weekend. And my father...
I'm from Maryland. We grew up not too far away.
Would actually get on his hands and knees.
Well, originally from Maryland, not now, hence the from somewhere.
And we would set up a ring in our house and I would wrestle him. So my love for the business started at a very early age. After I graduated, I became a 6th grade school teacher and moved out to Portland, Oregon with a buddy of mine from college. One night we're watching Monday Night Raw and JR's on there and he says it. Have you ever thought about becoming a wrestler? And I was like, yes, actually I have. And they were offering a show called Tough Enough. First time they had ever offered anything like this. Now this is in 2001 when the reality show craze was, in its infancy and just taking off. I literally thought there's no way they're going to pick me. funny. But I made a video.
Chris Nowinski was the better overall package, but you won him over with what did you win him over with? Whatever it was, your athleticism, not the promo ability, because Chris Nowinski was a very dislikable fuckhead, which is why he was more natural.
Almost as a joke. I sent the video in, and a few weeks after, got a call to my classroom, and they invited me to New York to audition. After learning that I was on the show, I immediately, a week later, found myself in Stamford, Connecticut to film Tough Enough. Tough Enough was 9.
Maven doing this much more intelligently than Val Venus did with his moving podcast, rather than just being in the dark with his camera mounted directly in front of him. He does have his producer with him, and it does look very much like The Office and other type of
the most grueling weeks of my life. It was almost like, whenever anyone asks, I always say it was set up like a boot camp. At the very end of the show, we found ourselves, down to 5 competitors, and they sent us home and then brought us back to train before the finale. I still remember, the moment that they announced my name as the winner. I knew in that split second my life would change and my life would never be the same. And it's truly never been the same since that day, whether it be for the bad or for the good. It has sent me in a direction that if I wouldn't have won that show, my life wouldn't have went in. After winning, I was sent to a developmental territory.
Did you get no, I'm thinking of Shelton Benjamin. I was about to ask if Maven got a pinfall victory over Triple H, but Shelton Benjamin did get 2 pinfall victories and 2 back-to-back Raw matches with Triple H.
I was sent to HWA, Heartland Wrestling Association in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay, so maybe you did not get in contact with Jim Cornette, since you went to Heartland Wrestling, not Ohio Valley.
Developmental program, it's almost like a minor leagues in baseball. It's where the WWE would send talent to hone their skills to get better, not only in the ring, but learn how to cut promos, how to, basically how to become a professional. I was in developmental for probably 4 or 5 months before I got the biggest break of my wrestling career, and something that I'm asked about on a weekly basis still to this day.
Choppy, your PP. I heard that clip actually just finally got edited off of the WWE on Peacock. You could have watched Choppy, your PP with Val Venus up until a week ago. So, Mr. Chance, you got to see it through nefarious means, or maybe hopefully you have it saved on a VHS tape. I know I had mountains of VHS tapes, and I didn't know that all these things would be at our fingertips. I wonder if I do have some of those lost medias that aren't up anymore, but they're mostly just sitcoms and cartoons and wrestling on my mountain of personalized VHS tapes.
You're saying you're going to Atlanta for the Royal Rumble. I get there, get to Atlanta, and Shane McMahon immediately has me come to the ring, and he's there with Taker and informs me that you're going to be eliminating Taker out later tonight. Taker looks at me and excuse the word he said, but he pretty much said, "Are you kidding me?" What I later would find out is that would not happen if it wasn't for Taker. He had to give the okay with that, and he did, and he thus gave me a career. So I will forever be indebted to The Undertaker just for trusting and for...
Yeah, that was like one of his first moments. Came out, eliminate. Did he blade? I think he might have bladed. I remember the Undertaker throwing him through one of the popcorn machines, and Maven actually does belong in the never eliminated from the Royal Rumble Battle Royal with several other folks, because the Undertaker got him through the middle ropes or through the bottom and just drug him throughout the arena. They had something of an impromptu hardcore match during the Rumble.
And for giving up himself so selflessly. So thank you, Mark. Being on the road, once you're an active wrestler that's traveling week after week, there's good and there's bad. Obviously, the best parts, it's kind of a rock star life. I mean, we're in a new town each and every night, and there's people that know your name, and it's a cool feeling to have, people appreciate not only what you do, but who you are or who they think you are. There are some negatives that come with that, and it's tough being away from your house. It's tough never being home, and I've looked back at that moments and thought, on days when I could be home for 3 days in a row, that was a lot. That grows tiring after a while. And a lot of guys, especially if they have families, you're missing birthdays. You're missing a lot of firsts.
And to those Jim Cornette fans, he has released several month in. There's another one that just dropped a couple of weeks ago where legit 30, 60 days straight without a day off back in the day. So
ball games, dance recitals, you're missing.
It's lightened up since the 80s.
plays, you're missing holidays, you're missing anniversaries, you're missing all the things that come to matter in a family. So that's definitely tough. Another thing that's tough being on the road is it's very easy to fall prey to the demons of being on the road. It's very easy to find yourself out, after a show in a bar, or after you get done with a match and somebody has a handful of pills backstage, and these pills are not only going to help your back stop hurting, but you're going to put a smile on your face and you're going to have a good night, man. It's very, very easy to fall prey to that. And
okay, so yes, I did hear about that. So Maven is indeed confirming that. He liked the pills a little too much for a period in time.
That I had my own demons. In the end, we're all responsible for our own actions, and I'm never going to blame wrestling or anyone else for that. I'm a man. I'm responsible for those actions. But if not for being in that business, I might have never came across those demons. I definitely probably wouldn't have had people screaming at me because they knew who I was. Yeah, along with...
Uh-huh. Oh, well, work is hard. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Had to hit with the ahas. You're being
there's so many goods that comes from wrestling. I mean, even to this day, whenever I get to, see a kid or maybe someone who enjoyed the work that I did, or whenever someone comes up and they tell me I was doing
that was Triple H's first big signing and his first big swing and a miss. And that guy, Mystico, I believe he's was his name and currently is. They ended up replacing him with the fake Sin Cara. I actually saw when I went out and bought some lighters recently. I bought a Roddy Piper lighter, and oh, good, that didn't break. That was a light bulb that I just accidentally knocked off the desk. That didn't break. Hooray! And next to the Roddy Piper lighter, they did have a Sin Cara lighter. I hope they still have that because he hasn't been around for years, and they still have Sin Cara merch that they're offloading on us.
Autograph signing 2 weeks ago, and I had a guy who's currently wrestling today, and he told me, I got into the business because of you. I was watching you on Tough Enough. And man, that's humbling to know that I made a little bit of a difference. Like, I'm very aware of the fact that my career was spent as a mid-carder. I was never the top guy. I was never the main event guy. I wrestled in main event matches, but
to be in the circus, to be one of the clowns, you weren't the clown, but you were a clown in the clown car. You were in that circus for a few years. So that is something very fun.
Never the guy, and I'm fine with that. Obviously I would have liked to have been that, but it's hard to live life having regrets. Now another one of the dark sides which comes with the business is a lot of times some people might think they know you when they don't know you. A few years back, I actually had a woman reach out and say that I was the
you think you know me. We need Ed and Christian with their kazoos to do the acoustic version of that theme.
Father of her 5-year-old son, to which I had never met this woman. The fact that I had to actually, go out of my way and financially prove that biologically I was not the father of her son, that's definitely something that's not a positive.
And that's why Mari was able to get people for years and years. It's like, you will pay for the test, Mari, and I get a trip to Chicago. Let's go. Let's make this onto public television rather than just keeping it between us.
18. Oh my gosh, I was so scared and I was so nervous. And I'm backstage, I'm pacing, and Rock sees me. And I mean, I'm in the business because of him. He sees me nervous, and he knows he can tell. I'm about to have the biggest match of my life up until this point. He can tell I'm just not in a good headspace. And Rock calls me over and he goes, Maeve, come here. And I'm thinking, words of wisdom. He knows how to do. He's been in a million of these matches. He's just going
to smack the shit out of you.
Me something to work with. And he looks at me and he goes, Maven, no one's really expecting much out of you. Just go out there and do the best you can. And he walked away, and I was like, huh? But that was
that is so funny, but that possibly could work in the reverse psychology. We know you ain't shit. Doesn't matter if you don't go out there and do shit. So that is funny. He went with those motivational words of you ain't shit. Doesn't matter that you don't do shit. And how did you take that, Maven?
Was exactly what I needed to calm my nerves. And he kind of grinned and kind of winked at me, and that was him telling me, just go out there and do what you do. And I was very, very thankful for that. I still get goosebumps, and I still get excited for being able to be a part of shows like this. Even if it's a small show. This isn't a big show. I'm going to do it as long as I can. I'm 46 years old.
This isn't a big show? Could have fooled me.
Right now, the day is going to come when A, no one wants to pay money to see me, and B, no one wants to pay money to hire me.
This is funny that he is driving to this event with maybe 100 people, maybe a few dozen out in the middle of the woods.
Then I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy my time, what I have.
But this is very much like me wanting to do some type of acting and broadcasting to less than a dozen people, or doing it in theater to a small room full of people. It's just something that you like doing. Once you get the bug, you got the bug.
have. Now, I think everything you
And that shit don't go away with medication.
do in life is filled with both benefits and regrets. If given the opportunity, I would do it again in a heartbeat, because with all the regrets that I have, I still get the opportunity to do things just like this. I still get to put a smile on people's faces. And in fact, John Oliver, he did an entire video on the pitfalls of the WWE. To check out my reaction, click right here.
Yeah, I skipped over that one. That video is a few years old. That one wasn't even in the queue, but we do have one other one in the queue. But that is enough for today from Maven. I was bringing up those off-topic chats. A lot going on in the world of Joey C. After finally making an appearance on the Joey C show, Dabblestorian might be out of the Joey C business. So I'm getting in just on the tail end of your Joey C-ness, coming in next Monday with one of his episodes. And yeah, I definitely have to check that out. I should have been watching live. I apologize. I didn't make more of an effort to be in front of the screen to see your appearance, finally coming face to face to chins with Mr. Joey C. And that is all we have today from Maven, but we do have some TikToks that are wrestling related before we get out of here. And I believe I was all caught up. If there's anything you wanted me to address the chat, just send it to me again. Dillon is signed at the Joey C Network for 50 cents. I believe that's below minimum wage, but he might be able to get away with that 50-cent payment with some creative accounting. He might be able to make that look a little more legal. Dillon officially signed with the Joey C Network, getting tons of cents. But let's check out some wrestling bloopers. Here we have some promo fuck-ups. And the guy who tweeted this has his face making faces at this. And we'll give that a refresh, and it should be right back to us.
Apologize ahead of time because I'm going to stretch his ass like it's never been stretched before.
And once again, we're getting into the Cassie Baxter type of talk with stretching asses.
And Sting, always coming from behind. And as far as Bischoff goes, I'm going to eat his ass.
He was successful in just using his mouth to get the man off.
We got a lot of sexy action in WCW in the late 90s with all this ass play.
Chris Kelly, I tell you what, when I get my hands on you, I'm going to eat your ass like a pot of collard greens, baby.
So much ass eating in the latter days of WCW. I missed that, but I did not miss this. We have Arn Anderson. Oh, look, it's all full screen and such. How'd you get that over there on TikTok to be full screen and such? Well, let me just get smaller so we can see this botch from professional Arn Anderson. Even the pros fuck it up sometimes. And especially the amateurs fuck it up sometimes.
Oh, no.
And going for a slingshot. Oh, that poor slingshot right into Chris Benoit. And one of the things that WWE has done over the years is they are not making a show for the live audience anymore. It's there for the live audience. They pay money for it, but it's mainly a television show. And AEW has taken to that as well. One time when I was in Los Angeles at the Staples Center, I think it was Roman and Ambrose. Was it against Cesaro and someone? Maybe it was against FTR. But Roman just went outside and was on the ground for minutes at a time. And us crowd started cheering, Roman sleeping. Roman sleeping. And they still do that to this day, of very much not taking into account the live audience is watching them when they're just hanging out at ringside like this.
Happens off camera.
Even Rhea Ripley is fucking around, the pro of pros. And they've put it into her head that this is okay. Because the live audience, they can see our outtakes. That's all right if the live audience sees our outtakes. And one more TikTok video to send us out. It is a new sexy clown, Bwoogie. You see it there, BWU_GI. She is doing a little sexy Ronald McDonald action.
Tell me.
A cheeseburger.
Yeah, you know what? My life is fucking miserable. I hate my fucking life. I hate it.
Sexy Ronald McDonald having her second thoughts about what she is doing. And let's see. I was a little back in chats. I saw one I wanted to bring up. Officially signed with the Joey C network. Oh, welcome, Isaac Walmart. I didn't see you in there. That was quick. In and out of the Joey C business already. Yeah, officially getting on the Joey C show one time. Appears to have taken it out of you. Almost had a heart attack late last night. I'll be getting tens of cents. Tens of cents adds up to a couple of bucks. So just keep that in mind, De La. Dabble Story, and can I send your Joey C episode to Joey C to get his reaction? Yeah, might as well. I don't know why I was trepidatious when asked this question about Kevin Brennan. Of course, send it to Kevin Brennan. Of course, send it to Joey C and Casey Armstrong and whoever else I'm doing. Tara Mooney, one, I believe I'm going to tag her on Twitter on her second one. And as I've said many times, I think that might be my first broadcasting war. I don't think she's going to like me. And I do like you, Tara Mooney. You just need someone to help you out in the editing. That is it for this week. Short week of broadcasting from the Dillon from Somewhere channel, as I am going to a concert and taking in a new city for a couple of days. And next week, should I back down to 4? I think I'll do 5 again. As I'm in contention for the subreddit surfing producer's position, I do have some work to get into. I suppose Vinny and Cardiff will reveal the plan on the newest episode coming up on Monday. But yeah, I need to start getting that together. I would like to start getting a few shows to produce for, to get some income. I enjoy this world. I enjoy producing. What concert? That would kind of reveal where Somewhere is, if I were to tell you exactly what it is. But it is a fun little thing. I wish I would have released that finale of the Stuttering John Shuley Detractor show to give a little more information on me. But fun show, a couple of cities over. Thank you so much, Rochi. Yeah, I'm winding on up. Thank you so much, people. Dabble Storian can't do Joey's show or be his friend for disrespecting the veterans on moral reasons. Oh, yes, you really got on him for some false valor, that he was just trying to act like a big guy. And then when immediately confronted with this false valor, he was like, nope, didn't do it. So very similar to our buddy Stuttering John in that aspect of, nope, I did not say that. I did not say that, after blatantly saying such a thing. But thank you for joining. I will be back next week, Sunday through Thursday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And the much requested from the UK fan base Joey C episode will be on Monday for Cohost Auditions. I believe WrestleQuest, as I've been teasing for a while, will be this gameplay, another TikTok around the clock. I enjoy doing those. Even if they're not getting as many views as I would like, I think those might catch on eventually. Just consistency is the key. So I will be here consistently 5 days a week for now. Back it down once I actually start getting some work to 3-4 days a week in the near future. Thank you so much for joining. Until next time, go away.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Places all. All join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LSMFT. Alimentary corners like swinging on a gate. To right to your honey with the right to left date. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LSMFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.